This is Nightline and I am Pritha Manivannan, news making the headlines. Additional 1.1 billion ringgit to increase healthcare capacity in the Klang Valley, says Prime Minister. And more than 11,000 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday, third record in less than a week. Good morning. In a bid to increase healthcare capacity in the Klang Valley, the government will spend an additional 1.1 billion ringgit. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said that he wanted the funds to be approved without delay.
Secara keseluruhan, KSU kementerian itu dah menyatakan mereka perlu 1.1 bilion untuk meningkatkan kapasiti upayaan kita untuk menguruskan masalah di Klang Valley. Jadi saya telah minta supaya dia ronding cepat dengan pihak Ketua Setiausaha Perbendaharaan supaya peruntukan yang perlu dibuat secara berfasa-fasa itu dapat diluluskan.
The Prime Minister spoke to the media after visiting Hospital Tengku Ampuan Rahimah in Klang on Tuesday. For this hospital, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said that 151 beds would be placed in its mother and child care complex, with the hospital also set to receive another 15 ventilators. He also said the hospital would increase its number of beds for COVID-19 patients to 606 and ICU beds to 72. The Prime Minister also said that the daily COVID-19 vaccination rate, which has surpassed 420,000 doses on Monday, is a good news for Malaysia to achieve herd immunity before the end of this year.
Kita hari semalam telah mencatat lebih 420,000 dos sehari. That is a good news. Antara yang tertinggi di dunia. Jadi kalau ikut kita punya fasa vaksinasi, saya jangka kita boleh sampai hampir semua yang perlu divaksinasi selesai sebelum akhir tahun.
And for this, the Prime Minister said he also ordered the Coordinating Minister for the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme, Khairy to purchase any available vaccine. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said records showed that an increase in the vaccination rate would bring the new number of new cases down, and it was hoped that it would also revive the economic activity. In other news, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said he will discuss with the Cabinet on the appeal by contract doctors to be appointed to permanent positions in the civil service. He said the matter had to be discussed thoroughly as it would involve a cost of more than 2 billion ringgit to the government.
Kalau kita nak kehendak itu, dia akan memerlukan satu kos yang tinggi lebih daripada 2 bilion. Dalam keadaan sekarang ini ada keterbatasan sedikit, tapi kita tengoklah macam mana keadaan itu kita dapat atasi.
Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adam Baba had earlier been reported by the media as advising the contract doctors to be patient, as the matter would be discussed by the Cabinet. The nation's new COVID-19 infections passed the 11,000 mark, while the daily death toll soared to 3 digits. The Health Ministry's record showed that there were 11,079 cases with 125 deaths, bringing the country's COVID-19 death toll to 6,385. Selangor, the most populous state, recorded its highest daily figure today at 5,263, making up 47.5% of the latest nationwide infections. After Selangor, Kuala Lumpur has the second highest number of infections at 1,521, followed by Negeri Sembilan with 1,033 cases. In the intensive care unit, there were 972 patients, with 456 of them requiring respiratory assistance. Of the 23 new clusters recorded, 13 were related to workplaces. Meanwhile, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said vaccination is the best way to address the worsening COVID-19 situation in Malaysia. He said this has been proven with the decreasing number of hospitalizations among those who had received 2 doses of the vaccines. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said while there have been incidents and data that showed that vaccinated individuals were still vulnerable to the virus despite receiving their jabs, the chances of developing severe symptoms, however, are lower.
Of the healthcare workers already protected, infected 2,779, majority of them category 1 and 2. So then you don't need admission to the hospital. So if the population, for example, can be vaccinated and be protected, then the admission to the hospital, even though they are infected, they did not admit to the hospital or ICU. So that is our strategy.
He said this in a press conference on Tuesday. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham added that there have been fewer admissions in hospitals nationwide for those aged above 60, as many have already been vaccinated against COVID-19. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also said that COVID-19 cases are expected to increase over a week or 2 before it stabilizes. He said this was due to the increase in daily COVID-19 screening from an average of between 80,000 to 90,000 tests to about 120,000 tests per day. He added the implementation of MCO from June 1st managed to reduce the number of daily cases to about 4,000 to 5,000, but there has been a spike due to increased number of screening done daily. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said the Delta variant of COVID-19, which has been detected in almost every state, is believed to be among the reasons for the sharp increase in cases in the country. He said the Delta variant spreads quickly and infections can occur within a short time through airborne transmission. In other news, University Malaysia Sarawak Unimas Institute of Health and Community Medicine (IHCM) has detected another 16 cases of COVID-19 of the Delta variant in Sarawak, bringing the total number of cases of this variant to 17. IHCM Director Dr. David Pereira said detection of the cases was done between May 21st and June 26th, before they were reported to be of the variant as of July 4th. The first case was found on a 56-year-old man on June 18th. Besides the Delta variant, another case of the Beta variant had also been detected in Kuching in the same period. Dr. Pereira said there are now 45 cases of the COVID-19 Beta variant reported in Sarawak. "204 staff members at the Ideal Convention Centre IDCC Vaccination Centre PPV in Shah Alam, Selangor have tested positive for COVID-19. National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme Coordinating Minister Khairy said all of the positive staff have been isolated. According to the minister, 453 staff members, including volunteers at IDCC, had undergone mass screening on July 10th after 2 positive cases were detected there.
Kita tak pasti daripada 204 kes ni siapa yang berjangkit di IDCC, siapa yang berjangkit di luar. Sebab kes insiden di Selangor terlalu tinggi, ya. Tetapi berita yang sedikit baik adalah berkenaan dengan load virus dia, yang menunjukkan bahawa load virus adalah rendah. Ini mungkin juga adalah disebabkan sebahagian besar daripada mereka adalah divaksinasi.
The minister said he had instructed for a mass testing to be conducted for all of the staff at IDCC after receiving a report regarding 2 volunteers who were tested positive. There are 453 workers at the vaccination centre, where 88% or 400 of them have been vaccinated, while the remaining 12% have yet to be vaccinated. Following huge crowd turnouts, the Selangor State Health Department said it has made improvements to 2 COVID-19 assessment centres or CACs, namely at Stadium Malawati and Taman Sri Andalas Hall. Health Director Datuk Dr. Shari Ngadiman said it has improved the flow of crowd, added lanes, and personnel, as well as erected tents and placed chairs, among other things, in order to better service the public.
Dan dalam memastikan peranan CAC ini dapat dilaksanakan baik, berkira, iaitu di mana ia akan dibuka setiap hari di mana-mana CAC dalam negeri. Keduanya, yang berbagai Datuk telah mengurus ke dalam negeri Sarawak untuk kita memastikan petugas dapat dengan baik dan tugas-tugas dengan baik.
In addition, he said 3 new lanes have also been added, the first one being for those who need their release order or cutting their wristbands off, the second lane for those who need assessments, and the third for the elderly, children and handicapped. The CAC is able to cater to some 1,500 patients daily, but was thronged by more than 4,000 patients on Monday, leading to long lines and overcrowding. The same goes for the CAC in Taman Sri Andalas, Klang, where residents have complained of large crowds mixing with the residents of the neighbourhood. Authorities have since cordoned off the Taman Sri Andalas CAC area from the community and added foot patrol to handle the crowds. It is also understood that the CAC will be moved to another location in 2 weeks' time. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said that the transformation of cities in Malaysia into low-carbon cities will help develop the local green economy, create jobs and attract domestic and international investments. He said this in his speech at a virtual launch of the Malaysia Low Carbon Cities Conference 2021, delivered by Environment and Water Minister Datuk Sri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man.
Proses peralihan dan transformasi bandar rendah karbon bakal memberi impak yang positif kepada kita semua dalam mengurangkan kesan perubahan iklim. Menyedari bahawa PBT di peringkat negeri dan perbandaran memerlukan sokongan padu di peringkat persekutuan dalam menjayakan agenda bandar rendah karbon.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin said among the sectors that will benefit from the effort were the sustainable energy sector, low-carbon mobility, waste management and recycling and water efficiency. He said various efforts had been implemented since 2011 through the implementation of the Low Carbon Cities Framework to provide support to local authorities at the state and municipal levels in achieving the Low Carbon Cities agenda. The Low Carbon Cities Catalyst Grant amounting to 35 million ringgit had also been launched as an incentive and support measure for local authorities to implement the High Impact Low Carbon Cities initiative. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has recommended that an act be enacted in Parliament to make it compulsory for the members of the government administration, Parliament and the Senate to declare their assets. MACC Deputy Chief Commissioner Datuk Sri Shamsun Bahrain Muhammad Jamil said this was because as of now no clear punishment could be taken against those who did not do so. He said in 2019, the Dewan Rakyat unanimously approved a motion to make it compulsory for all MPs to declare their assets to the Speaker of the Dewan Rakyat and for a copy to be given to the MACC. According to him, as of July 6th, a total of 97 members of the administration, 198 MPs and 38 senators have declared their assets, while 6 members of the administration, 22 MPs and 26 senators were yet to do so. Datuk Sri Shamsun Bahrain said currently there were no specific law with regards to the declaration of assets and the MACC could not do any verification on the declaration documents received. Commenting further, he said Malaysia could follow the lead of neighbouring countries such as Indonesia and Thailand, which already had legal provisions in place with regards to asset declaration. Gang Sakai charged for organised crime activities. The details when we return. Welcome back. Despite daunting challenges, the Malaysian economy is now on the path to recovery and projected to chart better growth for this year. According to Deputy International Trade and Industry Minister Dato' Lim Ban Hong, the economy is expected to be underpinned by improvement in the global technology upcycle and policy support from various fiscal and monetary measures, including the additional economic stimulus packages.
In the same way that we were adversely affected by a global recessionary environment for 2020, for this year, thanks to an uptick in global demand, increased public and private sector expenditure, as well as continued policy support, the prospects for an economic upswing are far brighter. These will also be
He added that the good prospect will be reflected in the recovery in labour market conditions and higher production in the manufacturing sector. This positive outlook is reinforced by the World Bank's most recent forecast, where it projected the Malaysian economy to grow 4.5% in 2021, albeit revised down from our own more robust Bank Negara's projections. The Malaysian Automotive Association, MAA, is appealing to the government to allow automotive sector activities to operate at a certain capacity with strict SOPs. Production and distribution of automotive products and sales of vehicles had halted since June 1st, and the stoppages of all these activities would have far-reaching implications to the entire automotive ecosystem.
Persatuan Automotif telah menghantarkan beberapa surat rayuan kepada kerajaan untuk membenarkan operasi syarikat-syarikat otomotif dibenarkan beroperasi semasa PKPD dan PKP ini, kerana ini akan menjejaskan pengeluaran kenderaan dan juga kita menampung kos yang tinggi yang tidak mampu kami menanggung kerana tidak ada pendapatan yang masuk kerana showroom-showroom pun ditutup dan penjualan alat ganti dan servis tidak dibenarkan.
MAA also proposed to allow a window of 2 to 3 days per week for receiving and storing cargoes for the automotive sector, similar to the practice during MACC 1.0 last year. "19 men were charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Tuesday with being part of an organised crime group, Gang Sakai. Now, the suspects aged between 18 and 47 were all accused of being members of an organised crime gang known as Gang Sakai at Flat Sri Selangor near Jalan Sanping between January 2015 and June 2021. However, no pleas were recorded from them after they were produced before Judge M.M. Edwin Paramjoti. The offence falls under Section 130(v) of the Penal Code, which carries a jail term of at least 5 years and not more than 20 years. Coming up, a rescue underway for 9 missing in China hotel collapse. You're still watching Nightline, and on to the foreign front. At least 8 people were killed while 9 others remained missing after a hotel collapsed in Suzhou City in eastern China. According to authorities, the CG Kaiyuan Hotel collapsed on Monday afternoon, trapping at least 23 people, and so far only 6 have been rescued. Most people in the building at the time were hotel guests. Following the incident, more than 600 people, including earthquake rescue teams, and 120 vehicles were mobilized for search and rescue operation. So far, no cause for the disaster has been given, but building collapses or accidents are not uncommon in China, often due to lax construction standards or corruption. Thailand on Tuesday defended mixing two different COVID-19 vaccines to battle a surge in infections after the WHO's top scientists warned it was a dangerous trend not backed up by evidence. Authorities said they will mix a first dose of the Chinese-made Sinovac jab with a second dose of AstraZeneca to try to and achieve a booster effect in 6 weeks instead of 12. Thailand's chief virologist Yong Puvo Rawan said this would be possible by combining an inactivated virus vaccine, Sinovac, with a viral vector vaccine, such as AstraZeneca. His comments come a day after the World Health Organization's chief scientist, Soumya Swaminathan, called the strategy a dangerous trend. The kingdom is struggling to contain its latest outbreak, fueled by the highly contagious Delta variant, with cases and deaths skyrocketing and the healthcare system stretched thin. Over in Indonesia, the country's COVID-19 task force on Tuesday reported 47,899 new coronavirus infections, the highest daily rise since records began in March 2020, bringing the total number of cases to more than 2.6 million. It also reported 864 new COVID-19 deaths, taking the tally of fatalities to over 68,000. At a press conference on Monday, Indonesian Minister Luhut Panjaitan said he expects the COVID-19 curve to flatten and the situation to improve by next week. The government, he said, is trying to convert several public hospitals into facilities dedicated to COVID-19 patients, adding that the military has also agreed to deploy its doctors and open emergency field hospitals. The rise in cases in Indonesia has caused a shortage of hospital beds and oxygen tanks, leaving thousands of people unable to receive proper medical treatment. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights in Malaysia's main newspapers for Wednesday, July 14th. Both the News Straits Times and Harian Metro focuses on the rise in COVID-19 infections, which has surpassed the 11,000 mark. And the only solution to stop the spike, says the Health DG, is to push for vaccinations. Berita Harian headlines 4 strategies to cope with COVID-19 in the Klang Valley. Finally, an article on the deadly and highly contagious Delta variant being one of the reasons for the rise in cases takes the front page of the Malaysian Reserve. Get your copies or subscribe to the online newspaper. Now, hundreds of heartfelt messages and support and solidarity have been left at the vandalized mural of Marcus Rashford in his hometown. The artwork in Withington, Manchester, was defaced with racist and offensive graffiti after England's devastating loss to Italy in the Euro 2020 final. The mural wraps up Nightline this time around. I am Pritha Manivannan. Thanks for watching and stay safe.